Hello, magic casters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning in to the 16th episode of our second level spell series. Today we're going to be taking a look at one that I quite frankly was completely unaware of until I had to look into it. It's really cool though. Today we're going to be talking about Cordon of Arrows, and it is usable exclusively by the ranger, or at the very least found on their spell list, and it is found in the player's handbook. This spell also behaves quite a bit differently than a lot of the other spells that we've talked about so far, combining a lot of interesting key elements that make it a little bit confusing to understand, but we'll talk about those in a bit. That being said, let's take a look at its mechanics here. Your cast time is the standard one action. The range of the actual cast itself is 5 feet, but as we'll discuss later, the actual spell effect is closer to a 30-foot radius, so just bear that in mind. The duration is 8 hours, and something worth noting is this is not a concentration spell, so we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to kind of the alternative use section, but the effect at a glance is as followed. You plant 4 pieces of non-magical ammunition in the ground. Whenever a non-designated creature comes within 30 feet of the ammunition for the first time on a turn, or ends its turn there, 1 piece of ammunition strikes it. On a failed dex save, the creature takes 1d6 piercing damage. The piece of ammunition is then destroyed, and the spell ends when no ammunition remains, or naturally until the duration runs out. At higher levels, the amount of ammunition that can be affected increased by 2 for each spell slot above second. The components are the Holy Trinity, so somatic, material, and verbal. Somatic means you have to gesture with one hand. The material components in this case is the ammunition used, and the verbal component implies you have to speak forth an incantation. The school is Transmutation, which is a little bit surprising, but I mean, whatever. It's, in my head, enchantment makes a little bit more sense, or even abjuration, depending on how you really look at it, but whatever. We will roll with it. That being said, let's take a look at its full description and break it down just a little bit further. You plant 4 pieces of non-magical ammunition, arrows or crossbow bolts, in the ground within range, and lay magic upon them to protect the area. Until the spell ends, whenever a creature other than you comes within 30 feet of the ammunition for the first time on a turn, or ends its turn there, 1 piece of ammunition flies up to strike it. The creature must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 piercing damage. The piece of ammunition is then destroyed. The spell ends when no ammunition remains. When you cast this spell, you can designate any creature you choose, and the spell ignores them. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, the amount of ammunition that can be affected increased by 2 for each slot level above 2nd. Whew, fantastic stuff. I really like it. It might be worth noting that because of the or part of first time entering the range on a turn or ending their turn there, you can only affect them essentially once per round, or once per turn, I guess, technically, but it is pretty cool. Another thing worth noting is, technically speaking, this is not considered to be an attack of opportunity, so forced movement could get them in there. That being said, I really like this one. I'm kind of a big fan of a lot of the traps that require quite a bit of planning on the onset, and then just reap rewards from that point on out. Now this is a great one. A lot of control elements here, which I really like. I'm a huge fan of the control spells in 5e. I think they're all pretty great, this one being no exception. That being said, let's check out some alternative uses here. So, in addition to being used offensively, Cordon of Arrows could also be used defensively. A great way to do this would be to protect the camp from lower level monsters, albeit at the very least alerting the party that there's something there that shouldn't be there. It doesn't specify that the targets have to be visible either, so please bear that in mind. So invisible targets would be affected by this. I just really like this spell in a variety of ways. Another cool way of using it would be to abuse the fact that it's a non-concentration, low-level spell and just cast it all over the place in a labyrinth or dungeon or something along those lines. This could be really useful for DMs as well if they want a creative kind of trap. Honestly, I just really like it. This also, on a side note, really helps out with action economy. Just helps balance the game a little bit more. Really good for dealing with trash mobs. I think it's pretty fantastic. That being said, if you have any alternative uses or cool ideas, please feel free to comment them below. I really enjoy reading what you guys have to say, and I know everyone else does as well. That being said, I want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons, Marcos G. Guzman Jr., Reina, Tanner Frazier, Kenny Garcia, Bruce T., Tato Seal, and Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the support more than you could ever know. And feel free to come chat with myself and the rest of the guys out during the daily live streams. Every day from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We do it pretty frequently. Like, I think we only miss a couple days here and there. And that's just when life gets in the way. If that does happen, I'll put it in the community section of my YouTube channel, so just check there. And if you like that cool hand-drawn Dragonborn, which belongs to Tanner Frazier, by the way, and you'd like your own hand-drawn D&D picture, please check out our Patreon to figure out exactly how to do that. That being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy casting.